Welcome to American Press Productions, independent political analysis. These are today's top stories. To start, we continue our coverage of the scourge of white nationalist terror attacks, as news media outlets have warned your white child could be the next Brenton Tarrant, for no other reason than the color of their skin. Time magazine states, quote, "Why white supremacist attacks are on the rise, even in surprising places," end quote. And with that, let's turn to the numbers. How many white nationalist or supremacist attacks have there been across the world since our last report on the topic 4 days ago? Prepare yourself for, the number is 0. Again. 0 white nationalist or white supremacist attacks across the world. Again. Meanwhile, there have been 10 Islamic terror attacks in 4 days, killing 106 people and wounding 92 others across Africa and the Middle East. There was an ethnic cleansing, not done by white people, but by Africans in Mali, where the Dozo tribe killed 134 Fulani herders. The death toll is expected to rise as the body count continues. But I'm sure we can all continue to believe the media and their portrayal of white nationalist and white supremacist attacks as a rising, global, terrifying trend. Porn star lawyer Michael Avenatti, who once for months considered running as the Democratic presidential candidate to dethrone President Trump, has been charged with extortion by the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office. Federal prosecutors will also announce separate charges of wire fraud and bank fraud. Avenatti attempted to extort $20 million from Nike, or else he threatened to release damaging information about the company that he claimed would take $10 billion off of Nike's market cap. It seems that, once again, those who accuse President Trump of wrongdoing are either projecting or delusional. The Mueller report is out. While it concludes no collusion between Trump and the Russians, it doesn't fully exonerate President Trump. While there will be no new indictments from the special counsel, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Now, the real investigation begins. After all, who needs this stupid report anyway to know without a doubt that Trump is guilty? I don't, because I have a TV. It was never about Trump-Russia collusion before the election. It was always about Trump colluding with Russia to get elected after the election. These absurdist phrases and many more are how the media, talk show hosts, and Hollywood celebrities are coping with the fact that Donald Trump is still their president, that he is not going away, that despite the daily, hourly lies spread about Trump by all of these entertainment pundits, their feelings are not fact, their lies are not reality. One celebrity tweeted that he could not imagine a world where, quote, "they were able to indict Aunt Becky before Donald Trump," end quote. If you are unaware, Aunt Becky is a character from the TV show Full House, played by Lori Loughlin, who is part of a nationwide federal investigation where rich parents such as celebrities bribed college admissions to have their children accepted into universities. But our justice system doesn't take into consideration any individual's desired reality or imagination. Another celebrity disdainfully tweeted that the special counsel couldn't even indict a ham sandwich, which is in one way a worrying sentiment. A ham sandwich, being an inanimate object, can do nothing to be indicted over. The special counsel would have to build a case of lies to indict such a thing, which seems to be what many in this country wanted. Build a case to indict even in the absence of evidence. But perhaps I'm overanalyzing, giving too much credit to the thought. After all, celebrities aren't exactly known for their intelligence in many cases, often paying people to do their thinking for them. Perhaps the next step in all of this is to ask just how this happened, how the Russian collusion story dominated American politics for so long. It is the job of our intelligence agencies to warn government employees and potential politicians such as Donald Trump that foreign intelligence agencies are targeting him. California Senator Dianne Feinstein employed a Chinese spy who worked for her for nearly 20 years. For nearly 20 years, China had a spy that worked directly with one of this nation's top politicians. The FBI discovered the spy, and again, this is important, after 20 years, and alerted Senator Feinstein, who then fired him. But she was never investigated for Chinese collusion. Political opponents nor government institutions assumed her guilt and used it against her. So why the difference in treatment with Donald Trump? It was the Clinton campaign in 2016 who reached out to a former top-level Russian intelligence officer who was still active in the Kremlin, as well as a senior Russian foreign ministry figure, reportedly to help dig up dirt on Donald Trump. It was the head of Ukraine's anti-corruption bureau who allegedly attempted to influence the U.S. 2016 presidential election to help Hillary Clinton win. So why was Feinstein never investigated? Why was Clinton never investigated? And why was Trump never warned by U.S. intelligence agencies that they suspected Russia was attempting to contact him or his campaign staff? Instead, they used that information to spy on his campaign. There's a lot to take away from this mess, and none of it very good. It is unlikely that the Mueller report will temper any of the Democrats' spiteful attacks on President Trump, unlikely that it will calm the hateful frenzy many Americans have been swept up by, as many have already declared that the report to them is meaningless. The New York Times actually ran a piece that told readers that they don't need to read the Mueller report. In other words, don't challenge or step outside of your confirmation biases. Despite one of the key wedges that has driven Americans apart being proven false, the polarization will likely continue to grow, widening the schism, legitimating the belief, the idea of two fundamentally different Americas. President Trump is not a perfect president, but in the current environment, it is impossible for him and his administration to receive healthy criticism because, as in the words of many Democrats as they gear up for the 2020 presidential election, there can be no compromise with the other side. It is us against them, my America against yours. And the stakes have rarely been higher, for if one side does truly win and passes all legislation that they desire, that would extinguish what the other side wants, such as allowing illegal immigrants to draw from the already dwindling Social Security Fund. Perhaps this was best illustrated on Sunday, when joke presidential candidate Kirsten Gillibrand gave her first major presidential campaign speech just outside of the Trump International Hotel and Tower in New York City. She boasted that she was proud to have stood up to President Trump more than anyone else in the Senate, an unvetted claim. She called the Trump building a, quote, shrine to breed division and vanity, end quote. Choice accusations that perfectly describe the Democrats and many news media outlets since Trump was elected president.